Lock it in and prepare for what's going down. I tried defending a murder trial. Big Michelle's pulling up. It's going to be a vibe. You already know what it is. I can't wait to see this. I've been loving the simulation type videos. This is going to be one and the same. Let's lock it in, baby girls.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Michelle,
Sorry, my sister's useless.
and I'll be representing you tomorrow in court. This week on Challenge Accepted, I'm going to see what it's like to be a defense lawyer in a simulated murder trial.
We're going to, in one day, teach her
One
what a
day?
criminal trial lawyer needs to do in a murder case.
My first question
The nigga in
is,
suits had like 3
how
months.
does the law work? What we've set up is basically a live-action courtroom video game. We have
What are these
12
cameras?
jurors. We have a real superior court judge. We have actors playing all of the witnesses. And our two players are me and my opposition, a seasoned state prosecutor.
He don't want no smoke with
Decades of
you.
experience.
He was angry.
Let's call it
and he
gumption.
killed
Gumption.
Mr. Tucker.
I don't know what the word is.
I'm a state prosecutor in the Pacific Northwest, and I'm here to take Michelle down.
Oh, shit.
Objection! It is impossible to quantify the level of adversarialness.
You don't need that, so overrule.
Your Honor, I'm happy to rephrase. Wait, that's too much. Okay.
What happened to being empathetic? You're looking at me like I'm the lawyer.
Take me out of this court!
Having
In the
your
criminal
person
justice
tell you.
system, the people are usually represented by real, actual lawyers. Today, it's a YouTuber pretending to be one. This is her story.
Thank you guys so much for being here today.
That was fucking
I am so excited
amazing.
to
Pretending to be one by. In the criminal justice system, the people are usually represented by real, actual lawyers. Today, it's a YouTuber pretending to be one.
Things be cooking,
This is
boy.
her story.
Oh my God, what is this?
thank you guys so much for being here today.
I know what it is.
I am so excited to learn everything about the law. The only thing that I know about the law is what I have seen in Legally Blonde, Better Call Saul, and A Few Good Men.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth!
You can handle the truth. Wait, do I get to say that?
The best trial lawyers have literally decades of experience before they're heading straight into trial.
Well, we have one day. We have one day to prepare
Oh my
for
God.
a murder trial.
Okay, can we play a game? Okay, tell me, is it fake? Okay, this plant right here. Put your money on the line right now, chat. Is this a fake plant? I need to know. I need to know what you guys think. I feel like I know, but I want to know what you guys think it is. Because if I'm right, I'm totally buying one.
To trial.
Well, we have one day. We have one day to prepare for a murder trial.
My name is Devin Stone. I am a practicing trial lawyer. On YouTube, I run the channel Legal Eagle, which is one of the biggest
that's where I
law-related
seen
YouTube
that
channels
nigga.
on the internet.
He be
This is the
talking
man that
about.
I learned everything.
He'll be doing like he'll do like a deposition or like what do you? I was about to say a deposition, but I think that's when you like actually bring somebody in to like discuss this something. But like he'll have like crazy stuff that's happening in the world. He'll like chat about it. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll like come online and be like, oh, but this is like the lawyer reacts to this type shit. You know what I'm saying? It'd be crazy.
From UCLA's head mock trial coach, Gonzalo Precious.
One of my passions is I have been coaching the mock trial team at UCLA for over 25 years. I'm proud to have 5 national championships under our
Damn.
belt. And we're here to give you a crash course.
Go ahead
in
then,
becoming
Mr.
a trial
Champion.
lawyer. The case you're going to see is the case of the state versus Ash Thornhill. This is a criminal case based on a real case that students all across the United States competed in 2001 through the American Mock Trial Association.
And tomorrow, we'll be going against a real district attorney, Spencer.
Yes.
I know he wants to win.
He probably
badly.
actually fought this case when he was a
But
kid.
I want to win really badly too.
And so do we. We're not in the business of losing trials.
Well, why don't we take a look at the evidence and see what we're dealing with so
Okay.
that we can help you defend
Okay.
your client.
Run it up.
On the night of October 15th, 2024, Wendell Tucker was murdered in the admin building of the Cobb County Zoo. Our client, Ash Thornhill, he's accused of shooting his boss, Wendell Tucker, because of a dispute that they had. Michelle, your job is going to be to defend our client, Ash Thornhill.
So for this trial,
I can see it
am
in his
going to
eyes.
play
He ain't
the
do it
role
for
of a
real.
defense
You know what I'm
attorney
saying? I can
for
see it in
Ash
him. Look at him.
Thornhill, who was
He don't
on
got the
trial
posture
for
of a
murder
shooter,
his
for real.
boss. I'm Michelle, and I'll be representing you tomorrow in court.
I'm Ash.
Now, for the purpose of this exercise, we couldn't actually have Michelle defend an accused murderer. That would be malpractice. So we're using some professional actors.
I know that he's an actor playing a character, but this whole thing is just insane.
Who are you talking to?
I need to get as much information as I can so I can make the best case possible.
Okay.
Maybe you can just start by telling me what happened.
Yeah, well, I'm the head zookeeper for mammals at the Cobb County Zoo. On the night that Wendell Tucker was killed, I was there working late. My boss,
Emily's lit,
Wendell,
low
called
key.
me into his office. We got in an argument about the conditions of the animals. I decide to leave. I get up to leave, and he grabbed me. I pushed him off. He stumbles back a little, but he doesn't fall down or anything. That was it. I went home, went to bed, and then I found out.
Oh, so they was already arguing.
Sometime after I left.
But on top of all of that, our client actually has a really good alibi. He claims that he was watching a baseball game with his friend/roommate, Drew, during the time of the murder. And you said you guys were watching a baseball game.
Yeah, it was a Dodgers game. I sat there with him, had a beer probably, I think I went to bed around 9:30.
9:30?
Is this like looking good for us?
Well, there's some very favorable aspects. There's
Okay.
some damaging aspects, but I think there's some favorable aspects.
Who the fuck
And that
drinks
leads
beer
us
and
to
goes home at
talking
9:30?
about how are you going to present this in your opening statement?
Yeah, so
Monologue! If you've ever watched a trial on TV, here is how it's actually structured. Opening statements, presentation of evidence through witnesses, closing arguments, then the jury will deliberate and
That's so
present a
fucking
verdict. So I've got to start with the opening statement.
the point of an opening statement is to tell the jury what they're going to hear and see during trial.
Now, interestingly, psychological studies have shown that 2/3 of all jurors make up their minds about the case after hearing the opening statements before they've heard a shred of evidence.
Damn.
So the opening is super important.
Okay, so I wrote an opening statement based on the movies and TV shows that I've seen, because that's all I know about the law at this point.
It's gotta be
For
pretty
this opening
close,
statement, I'm channeling
right?
part Elle Woods,
Like, almost
part
the
Kim
same, but, like,
Wexler,
not the same.
and part Tom Cruise. I'm a really big fan of Tom Cruise, and I would love to get a selfie with him one day. And so I have a secret mission. Over the past couple years, y'all know we have been doing bigger and bigger videos and stunts. And this year, I have a goal of accomplishing Tom Cruise's deadliest stunts. If you want to support us in that
Insane.
Mission Impossible, be sure to subscribe. Tom, if you're watching, hit me up.
Go for it.
All right.
Bro,
Ladies and
there's no way
gentlemen
she doesn't have the
of the
pool
jury.
to be able to get him. I
Today,
believe. I
you are
know
here to
Michelle can get
consider
that shit
the
going,
fate
bro.
of Ash Thornhill. This is a man who has been a devoted zookeeper for over a decade, known for his relentless passion for animal welfare. The prosecution is going to come in and paint a story of escalating tensions between Ash and Wendell, a disrespect to this man's legacy and the animals in his care.
It's kind of crazy because, like, to put yourself out there like this, like, knowing that, like, she scripted this and, like, made it happen is crazy. Like, I feel like this is so nerve-wracking because in my head, like, until, like, when she said it, when she said she had to do this at first, I was like, oh, I channeled all these people and, like, she knew what she was going to get. Like, I almost felt like this was too easy. Like, this was going to be a simple challenge. You know what I'm saying? To just knock out. But, like, I'm almost getting not convinced in certain aspects of when she's talking here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can almost tell in, like, certain spots where, like, the other person's not really paying too much attention. I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
Animals in his care.
In
Like
his
Selena.
care?
Judy, and Kiku. At the end of this trial, after hearing the full evidence,
Nah, Kiku
you'll find
crazy
that there is
work.
only one verdict here. Not guilty. And simply a man of Mother Nature. Thank you. I'm trying to win the jury with the cute animal photos.
Oh yeah,
Don't
we'll talk
do
about
that.
That's not allowed.
No.
To evidence.
They're gonna
This
fucking
is evidence? This has to
listen.
go into evidence?
They gotta take you
right now?
seriously here.
Yeah, everything that you talk about has to come
You
in
have to have
evidence.
Ash.
Come on, Devin. You can't look at this and say, this man's a murderer, right? Okay, no animal photos. Got
She
it.
going home.
So it was a little all over the place. We need to sit down and say, okay, what are the 5 things that we have that's our strongest evidence? And then let's walk through those 5 things in the opening so that you can plant the seeds.
What I'm
Come on.
thinking will potentially be our best avenue in is to really press on the fact that Gertch did not do a lengthy or detailed enough investigation. Sergeant Gertch is the investigating officer and the first police officer to arrive on the scene the night of the murder. It's
Damn.
insane to me that fingerprints weren't taken at this.
That's what I'm saying.
And I think your point about nobody else was investigated is very strange to me.
Is there any reason why someone other than our client might have had a motive to commit this murder?
Do you remember anything specific about your interaction with Mr. Tucker?
You be like, hell
You
no.
know what I did notice is
Oh.
he has this watch that he would always wear, big flashy gold Rolex.
Oh, he's locked.
It was right there in my face when he grabbed me. And I saw no mention of it in the case briefing.
Oh, a robbery, because the watch is gone.
So it's possible that this was just a routine
A
burglary
get-back.
gone wrong.
So we just have to prove as the defense that they don't have enough evidence to prove that it was
That's
our guy. We don't have to prove that it was someone else.
We just have to get the eyes off
hey,
our
you don't have
man.
enough evidence to prove that it's
we
Ash
don't even
Thornhill.
have to prove that.
Yeah, so.
What are we doing?
Well, it's the prosecution that bears the burden of proof. They have to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt.
We don't have to prove who did it. We just have to prove that there's reasonable doubt that you did it, that you didn't do it. We have to create doubt. We have to make everyone reasonably doubt. I doubt that he did it. I doubt that we.
Jesus Christ.
The evidence against Ash is circumstantial, incomplete, with inconclusive evidence. I assure you that the burden of the proof of guilt is not met.
Don't use the word circumstantial because that would be okay. Circumstantial evidence can convict somebody. At some point, you used another word which I liked much better.
Oh,
the evidence
so
is
wait,
inconclusive
will
at
you
best.
not use that because they're gonna like attempt to read into it like differently? Like you don't want to give the jurors like you don't want to give them the opportunity to like, you don't want to like, you're trying to convince them of one thing. You don't want to necessarily like let their minds be free roamy or like, how does I don't know.
What's the single strongest piece of evidence that we have?
Ash's alibi?
Absolutely.
That is absolutely. I'm just going to try something.
Yeah.
There's a problem with what we just heard. They're pointing the finger at the wrong person. And that's what this case is about. You see, ladies and gentlemen,
Facts.
today you're going to hear about this nice guy who was home having a beer and watching a Dodger game with his friend at the exact time of the murder. There's a presentational aspect about this in terms of doing certain kinds of delivery and techniques and gestures and movement and voice inflection. And all of this has to be put together to have an interesting, powerful, and persuasive presentation. And then there's certain...
I've watched that movie like 5 times now, and I feel like on the 5th time, I finally understood like what was actually happening and gave it a chance. It's a very good movie. You should watch it.
Customs. For example, whenever you address the judge, you have to stand up out of respect.
On TV, we often see gross violations of real-life decorum where people are just kind of running around the courtroom.
And in fact, there's a court rule that when you refer to the judge, you always refer to them as Your Honor, not Judge. Even that is a violation of the decorum and etiquette.
Beyond learning the scope of the law, there are so many
no,
details
exactly,
that the
Costi.
lawyer needs to be fantastic at. Your Honor, may I... Your Honor? Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Good.
Yes, Your Honor, may I approach the bench? There is the qualitative component about rapport with the jury, tone, voice, body language.
On side
Do
who
you
has
ever
to
put your
prove
hands
their
behind
panel.
your back?
Yeah, exactly.
No,
so
you
if
should
you
try
if
the
you
paralyzed
fuck it,
arm.
What's that?
And you
paralyze one
help
of your
them
arms,
create doubt
and you speak
by
with the
allowing
other
the
one.
other person
Kamala
to
Harris does
think
this.
a way that they
Hillary
want to
Clinton
think.
does it
You're
too, yes.
fucked.
Great.
I thought they were just like grabbing their jacket and looking nice doing it.
You only get a first impression one time, and this is my first impression with the jury.
Kill for 36 months. Thank you, baby.
So it's currently 5 p.m. The
Okay.
trial is tomorrow. I've just
35
learned
degrees.
how a trial works. I wish I had months to prepare. I guess that's why there are usually
Okay.
months
That's why it's
to prepare.
challenge accepted, yeah.
Yeah.
Where you are now compared to where you
Oh my
started
God.
in the beginning of the day is night and day already.
And now I gotta stay up as late as I can to really make sure I show up professionally tomorrow and not only say the right things, but sound confident doing it too.
And that's a really unique thing about this profession. Your job is to represent the client with so much conviction and give them the best chance. But you might not actually know the truth. Ash, did you kill Wendell Tucker?
Oh. Ash like shit. Nigga, I don't know. Oh, what? No, they did that.
All rise.
Come on, Big G.
Presence of the flag of the United States, emblem of the Constitution and of freedom and justice for all. Department number 137 of the Superior Court of the State of California for the County of Cobb is now in session. The Honorable Vinny Osorio, Judge presiding.
Oh,
Please be seated.
can he even move right now?
All right. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to Department 137. We are here in the matter of the state of California.
Chat, when a judge goes in there, is he allowed to use the bathroom? At what point is he allowed to go to the bathroom?
Versus Ash Thornhill. I will ask the
I've never
attorneys
seen
and their
that in Law
client to
and Order.
stand and introduce themselves to you.
Like, what if the
Spencer
judge
G.
like
Spencer.
has to take a crazy
My name's
shit?
Spencer. I'm a state prosecutor in the Pacific Northwest, and I'm here to take Michelle down. I'm going to be relying on my skills as a trial attorney. I'm going to be trying to use all the powers and tricks that I know to try and get the jury to go my way. I like to win.
Good morning, Your Honor. Devin Stone and I, along with my co-counsel, Michelle Khare, represent Ash Thornhill, the defendant in this matter. My role during this trial is largely moral support. I am there as a resource to teach Michelle some of the tactics and strategies, but after that, I've got to let this little legal baby bird leave the nest.
All right, members of the jury, you have now been sworn as jurors in this case. I
Come
want to
on.
impress upon
Okay.
you the seriousness and the
Hold on, because that can easily be a good one. Nah, that's a pretty split jury. Ooh, you know what? Nope. I seen her face. She prejudging already. And she looked like she been eating sour shit for so long that like it's just stuck that way. And yeah, I don't know. She doing the same thing as her for real.
As jurors in this case, I want to impress upon you.
They decide
the
when they take the
seriousness
breaks.
and the
I've never
importance
seen them.
of serving on
Like,
a
I've
jury.
never seen
So
somebody
we
be
will
like, I
now
gotta take
begin
a
with
shit real
opening
quick. I'll
statements.
be back, yo.
Counsel for the state, are you ready to proceed?
All rise.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
So my plan for attack for this trial is I am going to be focusing as much as possible on making Ash Thornhill a angry, resentful man who had every opportunity and motive to commit this murder. Love, greed, anger.
Is he actually gonna hit this?
Those are the three most common motives for murder. This case is about anger. It's about the defendant's anger towards his boss, Wendell Tucker. He saw the welfare of the animals that he was taking care of as endangered. And this set him on a course that lasted, frankly, months. His anger rising and rising and rising
Yeah,
until
watch
it
out for
finally
that shit.
snapped.
As I'm hearing Spencer's opening statement, I'm realizing, oh my God,
This is a whole different fucking ball game because this nigga Spent is on smoke.
this is about to go down.
What you're gonna hear, there was another veterinarian working at the zoo that night. She heard arguing between the defendant and Mr. Tucker. You're gonna hear from Dr. Monarch about the results of his autopsy. You're gonna hear that the defendant's DNA was found under Mr. Tucker's fingernails. You're also going to hear from Sergeant Birch that the defendant himself had previously owned a 9mm pistol, and that it was a 9mm bullet that killed Mr. Tucker.
He is so good that even I am beginning to think that my own client is guilty. And if I'm thinking that, the jury is definitely thinking that.
Oh, definitely.
At the end of this case, I am going to urge you that the only reasonable conclusion in this case is that the defendant is guilty. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel.
So is this
All
plan
right.
like close
Counsel
down and
for
just
Mr.
leave it like
Thornhill,
that?
Are you ready to present your opening statement?
Your Honor, yes, I am.
When I would work with my students on the opening statement, we spent more time crafting the first sentence than we did the entire rest of the opening statement. That's how
Oh, he's
important it is.
fucking with him.
There's got to be a grabber.
You got to be able to get the
Is there a zoo
attention.
pun?
Don't point the. Don't. I mean,
Like kangaroo
you don't want to.
court?
Yeah, I know, but you. Oh boy. You don't want to make fun of it. You don't want to make light of it because it's so tragic. I
Right,
like the idea of what you
right.
said.
What about
Tragic
something
and-
about like Mother Nature? No. Okay, okay.
You said, nah.
In the wild jungle, it's often the softest animal that gets harmed first. In this case, a dedicated zookeeper who has spent his life caring for endangered species finds himself in the role of the vulnerable as the first and most convenient suspect.
Down.
You will hear no evidence of a murder weapon. You will hear no physical proof tying Mr.
How's that
Thornhill to
work
this
out?
crime. No fingerprints, no gunpowder residue, and you will hear no explanation of what happened to the victim.
See, it's like in my head. Is she fucking up, Chloe? In my head, you don't. Do you want to get to the point where you have to tell them, wait? No, I feel like I'm saying the wrong thing. Hold on. Let me hold on. I'm gonna give my 2 cents.
Suspect. You will hear no evidence of a murder weapon. You will hear no physical proof tying Mr. Thornhill to this crime. No fingerprints, no gunpowder residue, and you will hear no explanation of what happened to the victim's expensive gold Rolex, which at the scene of the crime was reported absent from his body. These are critical gaps because the prosecution has focused on my client rather than conducting a thorough investigation. The truth is, on October 15th, while a real tragedy unfolded at the Cobb County Zoo, my client was home watching the Dodgers lose to the Mets. The prosecution has failed to explore all potential suspects or motives, despite clear evidence that robbery, not anger, led to this outcome. And like the quietest animal in the jungle, he does not deserve to be hunted down for a crime he did not commit. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Khare. All right,
So-
at this time, we will be taking our recess. When we are ready to call you back into the courtroom, we will let you know.
Oh my God. Oh wait, that was crazy.
I mean, how do you feel about it so far?
I think Spencer's scared of us.
I think he is too.
I was like shaking underneath the table before I had to go for my opening statement. I was like, oh my God. Spencer doesn't have any notes, and his suit is actually tailored. Do you want to know a secret about my suit? I had a safety pin because the sleeves were too long. I got this on Amazon like last week.
Yeah, me too.
Oh my God. What is this? Gucci?
It's custom made.
Now the next part of the trial is what I'm most excited
This
about.
nigga, bro.
Witness examination.
And we're talking
Hey,
about
no,
big
you know what?
variety
That's
of
a good ass dude, bro. Because at least he was down to laugh it out. He was down to joke it out. Like you heard him, like, yeah, me too. Like, I'm just one of the bros.
witnesses, from police officers to forensic pathologists to eyewitnesses.
But before that, we have just a few words from our sponsors.
Oh.
Are you a victim of bad
Bad business software? Clunky accounting tools? Or a website that looks like it was made in 1998? Well, you may be entitled to the sponsor of today's episode, Odoo. Odoo is the all-in-one business management software
How
that
did they combine
streamlines
three
your
different
workflow.
businesses?
No more juggling dozens of different apps. With Odoo, you can handle accounting, inventory, sales, and build a website all in one place. In just a few clicks, you can use Odoo's website builder to create a sleek, professional site. It's fast, simple, and free. Plus, it comes with a custom domain for the entire year. Still not convinced? I'll let my satisfied clients do the talking.
Thanks to Odoo, my business is thriving, and I'm no longer being crushed by the insufferable weight of inefficient business management tools.
And as a special offer, I'm throwing in some exclusive deleted scenes from Challenge Accepted. You can find them on our super secret Odoo Belt website below. So don't wait. Click the link in the description and try Odoo for free. For 14 days, no credit card, no hidden fees, only justice. Thanks to Odoo for sponsoring this portion of the video and for making episodes like this one possible.
All right, the court is back in session. At this time, we will now proceed with the first witness.
Yes, Your Honor. The state calls Sergeant Terry Gertsch.
Do
This
it.
phase of the trial is all about getting evidence in through the witnesses. Spencer's job is to call witnesses to the stand that help build his case and effectively make Ash look bad. My job is to play defense and do a little bit of damage control.
So all of the evidence we're bringing in has been approved.
Not necessarily.
Oh?
You're going to have to fight to keep some of that out, and Spencer may fight you on keeping some of your evidence out. So one of the things we're going to be doing is teaching you the basics of the rules of evidence so that you can object and know how to respond.
Let's fucking go, baby.
Yes, you got to say objection.
Spencer may try to get in some pieces of evidence that he wouldn't normally try to get in during trial to try to stack the deck in his favor.
That brings
I would
more
not
evidence
trust him
in.
to play
Yeah,
straight
facts.
in this trial.
You solemnly swear that all the testimony you're about to give before this court is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated.
Sir, what is your name?
Sergeant Terry Gertsch
Sir, how are you employed?
with the Cobb County Police Department. 16 years.
And were you employed before you were a police officer?
I was in the Marine Corps for 8 years, out of high school.
Okay. How'd you get involved in this case, Sergeant?
A call came over on dispatch at 8:55 on October 15th of this year to go to the Cobb County Zoo.
Where at the zoo did you actually arrive to?
The main entrance, there's a security hub there where I was met by Miss Brooks Hills. We went to the admin building to investigate.
When you got to that office, what did you see?
I saw a man face down on a desk in a pool of blood. I didn't touch anything except to check his pulse. And
Rolling down
he
that
was
thing.
indeed.
That thing was rolling down that thing.
There will be occasions where you and Spencer might have to have an objection battle.
How do I object?
There's this a collection of objections that are actually very likely to come up, and they're all sort of related to each other. One is proper foundation or lack of foundation. The other is speculation, and the other is improper opinion.
Okay.
Witnesses can only testify to things they saw with their own eyes or heard with their own ears.
Yeah, unless you have an expert.
Yeah. Like, for example, if I was to testify, Maddie is now at Starbucks buying coffee for us.
Objection.
Lack of foundation.
Okay.
Because am I there? Do I see Maddie doing that? I haven't seen that with my own eyes, so I can't.
But
So
you
you
could
can't
say-
talk on it.
Maddie said she was going to Starbucks.
That's hearsay.
So basically, my understanding of hearsay is you can't bring gossip to court. Boring. What that means is you can't be on the stand and be like, I heard
Damn.
somebody said this. That's a moment where you can say objection hearsay.
Now, having investigated yourself, are you familiar with the Cobb County Zoo's security system?
The SILs informed me what had happened.
Objection hearsay.
Effect on the listener, Your Honor, goes to his next investigative step.
Overruled.
Niggas gonna hit her with the
She absolutely
sustain.
objected correctly.
Sustain, nigga.
Didn't quite
sustain,
put the muscle
baby.
into it. Judge went my way. How do you understand that security system to work?
A card correlates to an employee. An employee has access to a particular area of the building based on a specific key card.
So an important aspect of this case is the zoo's security system, controlled by key cards.
Think of it like hotel keys, right? I have a personalized key card, but for guests or a visitor, they have generic key cards. These ones are all the same. They don't have a specialized code. This one has a specialized code that is tied to me.
Here's where things get confusing. At 8:30 p.m., Ash swiped his card into the garage to leave. But 8 minutes later, a generic key card was swiped into the admin building, assumedly Mr. Tucker's murderer.
Did you obtain a search warrant for?
So it's a regular
apartment?
person, like not like a
What
normal,
did you find?
not like a
During
janitor.
search in one of his kitchen
Like a
drawers.
person that has access
found
to
a
every
generic
building.
Key card.
Oh
So
shit!
he had his employee ID when he was arrested, his employee card, but you found this generic card in a drawer in his kitchen.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh shit!
No further questions, Your Honor.
You have a generic key card in your drawer.
Yeah.
They're gonna say that this is the same generic key card used by the murderer.
I know it looks bad.
Why?
But I didn't do it. So, like, that should win out, right?
Defense, are you ready for cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ooh, all right. Let's talk about cross-examination.
Devin's getting all excited.
How are you supposed to?
Cross-examination is my favorite.
Yes,
Really?
it is. Oh,
Yes.
he loves it. Yeah, because Cross is more aggressive, and that's sort of more natural.
I need more
Prosecution
information.
witnesses might be hostile.
Now, when you say that these 4 witnesses are hostile, what are we talking here? Like, are they going to be mean to me?
They might. We should probably assume that these witnesses believe in their heart of hearts that our client committed this murder.
When should you be aggressive in your tone
Yeah.
with witnesses, and when should you not? With somebody like Officer Gertsch, you're going after them. You're attacking that they did a shoddy investigation. They jumped to conclusions without looking at alternative subjects, and they did not conduct all of the forensic tests.
Our plan
Damn.
with Sergeant Gertsch is to discredit him in front of the jury. Really press in on why he didn't do a thorough investigation. And we're gonna try and blame all of that on Gertsch's prior history with Brooke Sills, the head of security at the Cobb County Zoo. We're gonna highlight the fact that this prior negative relationship clouded his judgment and his ability to do a thorough investigation.
Officer Gertsch, when you arrived on scene on October 15th, you knew Brooke Sills, the director of security,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
And on the night you showed up, this prior relationship impacted how you felt arriving to the scene and seeing that Brooke Sills was a part of this conflict that you had to investigate.
No, I disagree with that.
See, that's the question you can't ask, because he's never going to concede that. In fact, Detective, the two of you really didn't see eye to eye on things back when you were Marines.
I would never see eye to eye with a substandard Marine like that.
Oh, it's smoke. Oh, it's smoke. Oh, it's smoke. Oh, it's
In
smoke
fact,
shit.
Detective, the two of you really didn't see eye to eye on things back when you were Marines.
I would never see eye to eye with a substandard Marine like that.
This is like a
Nevertheless,
turning point type of question.
This information that you put in your report
Or
from this
inference. He's
witness who you
inferring in a
knew
way.
previously during your Marine service that you did not see eye to eye with. Yes or no?
That's correct.
I know, no.
Hold up.
It's hard. This is
so
really hard.
I felt trapped in those questions.
Yeah, bro.
Like halfway through, I was like, damn it, I really.
He's
I knew where I
cooking.
was going. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
But
He's
okay,
fucking
if all
cooking.
you get out from him is, nevertheless, when you were serving in the military, you did not see eye to eye with Brooke Sills. Yes or no? And then move on.
Officer Gertsch, you know Brooke Sills, another witness in this case.
That's correct.
You have a history together.
We served in the military together.
And during the 8 years that you served alongside Miss Sills, did you have any disagreements?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
Overruled.
Come on. No, sit in it.
So,
Sit in
Officer
it.
Gertsch,
Sit in
we
it.
were just talking about your relationship with Miss Sills. Were there times when you didn't see eye to eye?
Yeah, we didn't particularly see eye to eye on things.
And these feelings, they clearly impacted your work that evening.
Ooh.
Did they impact your work that evening?
I don't understand
Tell
the
him.
question.
When
What
you
you
met
mean?
Miss Brooke Sills, with whom you did not see eye to eye, this impacted your ability to do a thorough investigation.
No,
You're claiming it did not emotionally impact your judgment.
absolutely not.
You're claiming that you would have run this investigation like you would any other
Of course,
location.
it's a profession, so yes.
So no fingerprint analysis, no gunpowder analysis.
Oh.
Not to my knowledge, no.
You also said you didn't meaningfully pursue any other suspects.
Everyone was interviewed. All the potential witnesses that we wanted to interview were interviewed.
And you never meaningfully pursued any of the contractors who also had generic key cards.
Their stories all corroborated each other's story.
She got him in there.
No further questions.
Thank you, counsel.
Stuck.
Then the judge is going to ask, redirect, counselor? And he may feel he wants to ask us some additional questions
to kind of go
clear
around
up
what
something
you
that came up
get
during your cross-examination. That is redirect.
Any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Sergeant Gertsch, now in this case, where you have an office in an admin building where people come and go, would you expect to find the defendant's fingerprints in that admin building?
Naturally, yes. We felt there was no need to do fingerprint analysis at that time.
Thank you. No further questions.
Your Honor.
See, that was kind of good. But see, as like a juror, I'd be like, in any case, it's always good to be sure. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm thinking this is the whole due diligence of being a police officer. You know what I mean?
I would just like to ask a few more questions. 2 questions.
All right, I'll allow it.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Gertsch, you said that you didn't do a fingerprint analysis because you didn't deem it necessary. However, we don't know if there are other unidentified fingerprints at the scene, correct? Yes or no? We will never know if there are other fingerprints at the scene.
That's correct.
No further questions.
All right, thank you.
That's a cook. Like, in my opinion, that's a cook. Like, if I'm on the juror stand, I'm like, oh, all right, bitch ass nigga. Now somebody got to tell me. Now you got to answer this question. You got to let me know why you was just all like, oh, you know what? I don't got to test nobody because I know who the man is right here. But then again, there's a lot of substantial evidence because they found a key card in his desk. You know what I'm saying? And homeboy and them had beef. Like, come on. Like, what are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, they basically chose the killer, but without even actually proving that it was really him. They went off of the easy stuff that was given instead of doing the hard job. I would have got his ass. I know it's fake, but it's so good.
Thank you, Sergeant.
It's so fucking good, nigga.
You look scary. Because you're scary. What happened to being empathetic? It's the squawk. Yeah.
All right, Mr. G, are you ready to call your next witness?
Yes, Your Honor. The state calls Dr. Khare Wilson. Now, that night, did anything catch your attention as you were leaving the admin building?
I overheard an argument. I recognized the voices. It was Wendell Tucker and Ash Thornhill.
How loud was the argument?
Tell us about it.
I screamed at him. I told him he was a scumbag. But a million people hate Wendell Tucker.
Mr. Wendell had several strained relationships, correct? Yeah. Would you agree that he had strained relationships with the staff, including yourself?
Yes.
Oh,
Doctor, you said that some staff members had more adversarial relationships with Mr. Tucker than others.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Who was the most adversarial with him?
Objection, speculation.
Your Honor, I'm just following up on a question and response that counsel made during cross-examination.
And how do you respond to that?
I respond that it is impossible to quantify the level of adversarialness of an individual person, and furthermore, potentially hearsay on this individual's interpretation of that vitriol. Furthermore, she is not a professional psychologist or
What the fuck did she just say? What?
Of that vitriol. Furthermore, she is not a professional psychologist or psychiatrist to make that assessment.
Your Honor, it's lay opinion testimony.
Right, you don't need that, so overruled.
Okay. I was like, wait a second.
You can answer the question, Doctor. Who was the most adversarial with him?
Ash Thornhill.
Did the defendant say something to you about his feelings towards Mr. Tucker?
Yes, he said he hated him, and he said that what he was doing to the place was
She opened that shit up.
Thank you. Your Honor, no further questions. Your Honor, the state calls Brooke Sills. Ma'am, how are you employed?
I am the security supervisor at Cobb County Zoo.
How did you first get involved in this case?
Dr. Khare Wilson had come to me. She said that she had heard a loud sound that sounded like a gunshot. We have surveillance footage of Khare Wilson when she heard the gun sound.
Oh. Sir, can you please state your full name for the record?
Yes, Dr. Lawrence Monarch.
See,
Did you
white
conduct
people
an
are like,
autopsy of Mr.
y'all gotta
Tucker?
get the fuck
Yes.
out of there.
What findings did you
Why are you
make?
running towards the
bone
gunshot?
entrance defect through the front of the skull suggests the size of the bullet would have to have been 9mm or smaller.
What, if any, connection is there between this bullet and Ash Thornhill?
Ash is a registered gun owner of a firearm that does shoot 9mm bullets.
Facts.
However, the firearm was reported stolen 8 months ago. You are a registered gun owner
I am, yeah.
of a 9mm handgun, which is the same size bullet of the firearm that killed Wendell Tucker.
It was stolen from my car.
Did you conduct any DNA analysis?
We ran DNA on the skin cells that were found under the fingernails of the deceased.
Probably the single worst fact is that the DNA of our client is found under the fingernails of the murder victim.
I mean, it must be from when he grabbed me.
Okay. Dr. Monarch, you mentioned earlier that there was DNA found underneath the fingernails.
It must have been.
In fact, there were 3 separate DNA sequences found. One was the victim's, one was Mr. Thornhill's, and one was from a third party.
Correct.
An unidentified third party.
Yes.
So you have no idea who that person is.
No, we don't.
When you were there, did you find any jewelry on the victim?
No.
So you specifically did not find a gold Rolex watch.
Correct.
So do you think this was a burglary?
I think it could have been. All I know is he was wearing his watch. I saw it. It was right there in my face when he grabbed me.
Dr. Monarch, you didn't find any watch or other jewelry. You did find a money clip with $320 in cash, is that right?
Correct.
You also found a wallet with 2 credit cards.
Correct.
Stamp that. They're like, wait a second, why are you bringing in new shit?
I made a mistake. I totally missed that detail during my prep. This really hurts our case that it was a robbery, because who would take a gold watch but leave $320 behind?
State rests, Your Honor.
But I would then have to think that there's something
at this point in time.
There's something more, like it's like a memento or like I don't know. I feel like because of that thing not being there, because that being stolen, that's why then you could make the case for it not being a robbery. You know what I mean? Like you could say or argue that it's something completely different because of that.
We will now begin with the defense presentation of their evidence. And Ms. Khare, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor, we are.
Call your first witness.
The defense would like to call Ash Thornhill to the stand.
Thank you very much. Mr. Thornhill, please take the stand.
In real life, it's unusual for the criminal defendant to actually take the stand. There's so much that can go wrong, and a good prosecutor can do a really good job of tripping that person up and
Beyond
asking some
tripping them up.
really
You're gonna say
debilitating
something
questions.
stupid off
It's a
tops.
risk, and Michelle is going to have to navigate those risks, but it makes sense for her to build that bond and to strengthen the defense.
I think with the direct examination of Drew and Ash, I want to paint the picture that Ash's alibi is correct, true, and he was nowhere near the scene when the murder happened.
The thing that you said that I really liked the most was that you wanted to paint a picture. Direct examination is all about letting your witnesses tell their story.
Mr. Thornhill, would you state your name for the record?
Ash Thornhill.
Mr. Thornhill, where do you currently work?
At the Cobb County Zoo. I am the head zookeeper for mammals.
What inspired you to pursue this job?
Well, I was always an animal lover. I guess I got a scholarship to college for conservation studies, post-college.
But see, it depends, Chloe. It depends, because if you put them on the stand and it's real, like it depends on the type of person. If you get a person that knows how to speak for themselves, and also you can, you've had time to like prep them through it, you could definitely put somebody on the stand, like, and let them argue their case, especially if the jury looks like the kind of people who would like to, like, when you look at somebody and you're like, damn, like they show a lot of their emotion on their face when they're explaining things, like it looks like they could win over the people. It could be a good idea. You know what I'm saying? What up, OT?
I worked at 2 different wildlife sanctuaries until I found myself in the employ of the Cobb County Zoo. It's always been a passion of mine.
And given your passion, what are your hours like at this
Definitely
position?
a lot of risk.
Extensive.
But I feel like if it's your last play, you got to make that play.
It's not no
matter what. It's one of the cards. You might as well play it. You know what I mean?
I don't know that many other people around me in the workplace have the animal's best interests at heart the way that I do. So if I don't look after them, who will?
When you are asking the direct examination questions, you are not allowed to lead. And a leading question is one that implies the answer in it.
This is probably one of the hardest things for somebody that's never done this before to do correctly. So I'm going to stand up and answer you a couple questions.
Okay.
Just to show you the difference. So if I say, you're wearing a plum-colored blazer, aren't you?
Yes.
That's a leading question. If this was a trial, Devin would in fact be.
Objection.
Objection.
Objection, leading.
Leading, because I suggested the answer. So the proper way to ask that, what color is your blazer?
Now, those could elicit the exact same information, but how you are perceived and potentially the type of information that's coming out could be completely different.
Okay, here we go.
Damn.
All right.
And that science and
Mr.
just that
Thornhill,
question alone is crazy.
You work at the Cobb County Zoo, correct?
I do. I'm the
Objection, leading.
Yeah, because you want to say where do you work, sir, or whatever, something like that. You don't want to name the spot. Come on, lock in, Michelle.
Okay. Right there. Okay.
Sustained.
Okay. Mr. Thornhill, where do you work?
At the Cobb County Zoo, I'm the head zookeeper of mammals.
Tell me about some of the keystone projects you've worked on as a part of this position.
Objection lacks foundation.
Yeah.
So can I just rephrase that?
Yeah,
All right,
so
cool.
you can say, Your Honor, I'll rephrase.
Your Honor, I'll rephrase.
Okay, sustained.
Also, like, put a little spite into that. Like, that's a really ticky-tacky objection that I made. So, Your Honor, I'll rephrase the question.
Wait, you're saying you have attitude?
This freaking guy.
You know.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm happy to rephrase. Sorry, let me add more to that. Your Honor, I'm happy to rephrase. Wait, that's too much. Okay. Your Honor,
In
I'm
between those two.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm happy to rephrase.
Good.
Mr. Thornhill, how has this construction expansion impacted your working hours?
Objection, relevance.
Your Honor, I intend to discuss with Mr. Thornhill how this particular project impacted his working hours, specifically on the night of October 15th.
Okay, all right, overruled.
Good job. Hey.
Good.
But I won't do that tomorrow. I'll celebrate.
You gotta celebrate.
Now let's go back to when
it.
you met Mr. Tucker. What happened at the end of your shift when you met with him?
I turned to leave. I turned to leave him there, and he grabbed me by the wrist.
So
shoved
he
his wrist
assaulted
away,
you, huh?
left him standing there, and exited the office.
When he grabbed your wrist, did you notice any jewelry on his wrist?
Yes, I did. He was wearing a big gold Rolex. He always wears. He loves to flash it around the zoo. I've rarely seen him without it. It was clearly in my field of vision when he grabbed my wrist.
And this is a memorable piece of this character.
someone-
you wouldn't
All right,
forget.
objection, leading.
I get leading, but at the same time too, I wish she would not staple on that, because then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna argue like, God damn, a man just assaulted you out of nowhere as you were walking out of the room, and the one detail that you were able to visibly notice the entire time was his watch. That seems crazy. And for some reason, nobody took his money, but an angry, disgruntled employee decided to snatch his watch. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That could be crazy. I be watching too much. NCIS and shit.
Overruled.
To re-ask?
It was a piece of jewelry that you wouldn't forget, that he often would almost intentionally flash in people's faces.
Mr. Thornhill, would you please tell the members of our jury, did you kill Mr. Tucker?
I did not kill Mr. Tucker. I had nothing to do with that.
No further questions.
He didn't convince me.
Mr. G, cross-examination.
Technically, she didn't convince me right there.
So, Mr. Thornhill, your testimony here that he had a Rolex watch on, and yet you're the only person who's testified about a Rolex watch. You're aware
Got
of
him.
I am aware of that.
Yeah. And you're also aware, because you previously reviewed it prior to trial, that in the autopsy report, there was no Rolex watch. There was no jewelry at all. Isn't that right?
I am aware of that.
You had previously seen that autopsy report prior to coming in here today and testifying about a Rolex watch. Isn't that right?
Yes, that's accurate.
There was also a generic key card in your kitchen. Isn't that right?
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Where'd that come from?
It's from months ago. My personal key card failed to work. I had to get a replacement. Quite simply, I forgot about it.
You also did previously
I feel
own
like
a
that's
pistol,
good.
a 9mm pistol, right?
Oh,
Glock 17?
shit.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
All right.
You can't.
8 months prior to the incident we're discussing here in this trial, you reported it stolen to the police department.
Yes.
And you didn't buy a replacement.
No, I did not.
Just let it be. Filed your report and went on with your life?
Well, I was hoping it would be found.
Okay.
Spencer
actually helped him,
flips
though.
into a completely different character during cross-examination.
That actually helped.
His
I feel
body
like
language.
him, because it's
He
like
has his arm
he didn't
crossed.
come back to
He's
it.
got
Like if it
this
was like
smug
2
look
months
on his
before
face, which
or
I
a month
don't
before, that'd be
appreciate, by the
different.
way.
So that night, October 15th, you went into Mr. Tucker's office. Now, interestingly, when you were answering questions from your attorney, what you didn't mention is that you raised your voices. Isn't that true?
I didn't mention volume at all, I don't think.
Well, I mean, it's kind of important, don't you think, that it wasn't just a casual conversation, but you in fact were yelling at each other?
Well, I answered the questions that were asked of me.
Were you in fact yelling at each other?
Yes.
You were infuriated at how he ran the zoo.
Yes.
You were upset that bongos and copies were going to be kept in their pen permanently, right?
Absolutely.
And you weren't going to stand for it.
There wasn't much I could do. I certainly let him know what I thought about it.
You hated Mr. Tucker.
I disliked him.
So right now, your testimony is you didn't hate him.
I don't think he had the interests of the animals of the zoo at all in his mind.
So you're drawing a real careful distinction here between strongly dislike and hate.
then,
Is that an important distinction to you? Or did you just hate him?
Objection argumentative.
Overruled.
I haven't considered the difference between hate and dislike in relation to Mr. Tucker until this moment.
Ash.
Oh.
Did you hate Wendell Tucker?
Yes, I hated Wendell Tucker, but a million people hate Wendell Tucker.
Did you hate Mr. Tucker?
I strongly disliked him.
Ooh,
Okay.
Hold up.
No further questions.
Ms. Khare, your next witness.
Yes, Your Honor. The defense would like to call Drew Mercer to the stand.
Does Drew know you hate Wendell?
I've complained about Wendell to Drew a couple times in a pretty, I hate my boss type way. I think he was wondering why I was in such a bad mood.
The night of the incident?
The night of the incident, yes.
Drew is our key witness because he corroborates Ash's alibi that he was home watching a baseball game when this murder happened. If the jury believes him to be a trustworthy person, we can basically win the case.
Mr. Mercer, how do you know Mr. Thornhill?
Ash and I, we grew up together, and then we reconnected when I moved back into town.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on the night of October 15th, did you encounter him at any point?
Yeah, he got home.
It's
like
tomorrow,
8:40.
yes, Emerald.
Did you
I thought
currently
you
live
asked something
together?
else at first.
Yeah.
So sorry about that.
Yeah.
And when he got home at 8:40, was anything unusual with his demeanor?
No. I mean, nothing seemed like just like a Tuesday.
So nothing seemed out of the ordinary?
I tossed him a beer. He sat down. He got up, went to bed. I had another beer, cleaned up.
I cannot believe that during my star witness examination
This nigga passed
that
the
the
fuck
jury
out.
is falling asleep.
What do you do when you're doing a trial and the jury is falling asleep, which actually happens
Yes, it is.
a lot? You have to sort of do something to grab their attention. There is a technique for creating suspense to really drive something home that maybe you say once, maybe twice during the examination.
Like what?
What is that?
Mr. Mercer, could you tell the members of the jury if at any time between 8:30 and 9:30 you ever saw Ash Thornhill leave the property?
No, I never did.
That was so dramatic. Oh my gosh, that was so
Dramatic?
exciting.
Your ears perk up.
I feel like that
That's the kind of stuff you have to do to create
But it
interest,
does,
build
'cause it
suspense.
brings them-
That
it
is
may-
just
gets
as
them
important
involved
as
almost.
good legal technique.
Mr. Mercer, please tell the members of the jury, between
Oh shit.
8:45
Oh, it worked. You saw that nigga?
and 9:30 p.m., did you ever see Mr. Thornhill leave the living room or the property in any capacity?
No, he came home and hung out with me, just watching the game till it ended, and then he got up and went to bed.
Thank you. No further questions.
All right, thank you. Cross-examination.
The last thing that I really need to do is I need to attack Drew Mercer. He is the single most important witness for the defense. He is the alibi witness. I have to do whatever I can to destroy his credibility so that the jury does not believe a word that he says.
Oh, God.
And Mr. Mercer, you are a felon, is that right?
Shit. It's over. It's over. As soon as they said that.
Objection relevance.
All right, please approach.
The prosecution at some point is going to try to show that this guy was not to be believed because he's a felon. You have 3 grounds for keeping it out.
1, over 10 years ago.
You got it.
2, he was a juvenile.
And 3,
He was charged but not convicted.
Cha-ching, you win.
Your Honor, the prosecution is using improper character to falsify Mr. Mercer's claim, which is unfair to him given his past. That has nothing to do with this case.
All right, and why are you offering it?
It's impeachment by conviction, Your Honor.
Okay. Your response to that?
Per Rule 609, Your Honor, it has been over 10 years, and he was a juvenile, and he was not convicted.
Your Honor, he was an accessory to an armed robbery, and he falsified to protect the people who were actually conducting the armed robbery. In other words, it matches up perfectly.
How does it match up perfectly?
I mean, okay, listen, before he added in the it matches up perfectly, he almost had me. He almost had me because like that would have got like, especially if I'm the jury hearing this shit, I'm like, wait, he covered up. So this nigga already done covered up some shit in the past? Technically, he not covering up what happened, but you would then have to bring that into question.
Perfectly. He is again covering up for someone else's crime. In that initial case, when he was 17.
Simon said he's out? Okay, bet. This is almost over.
The prior conviction, or are you just bringing up the prior conviction to impeach him on credibility?
I can't get into the specific facts.
What up, Abba?
However, the court can take those into consideration.
The statute does require that I find that the evidence substantially outweighs its prejudicial effect. I don't find that it's over 10 years. I believe at this time that it doesn't align perfectly. So at this time, the court will sustain the objection.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And members of the jury, remember the questions are not evidence, so the question regarding any felony shall not be considered by you. You are to disregard that question.
If evidence comes out that shouldn't, you can't unring that bell. The jury has heard it, and the judge would give a limiting instruction to the jury to tell them to ignore it, to pretend they never saw it, but they did.
Mr. Mercer, I want to direct your attention to the night of October 15th of this year. When you saw him that night, he was tense and clammy. Wasn't that right?
I mean, he had been saying that work has been like hard because of that.
Sir, just to be very clear, I was asking about how he appeared to you. He appeared to you tenser than usual and clammy. Is that right?
He appeared like he had a rough day.
Answer the question.
It's a yes or no question. He appeared tenser than usual and clammy. Is that right?
Yes.
Damn.
Thank you, Mr. Mercer.
All right. At this time, we will be proceeding with the closing arguments from counsel. And Mr. G, are you ready for your summation?
Yes, Your Honor.
The closing argument is interesting because you don't write the whole thing ahead of time. While the trial is going on, I'm taking notes on everything that Spencer is bringing up so that I can make sure to fold it into my closing argument and rebut any last-minute things he tries to throw in our direction.
He was angry. He was angry. And he killed Mr. Tucker. We know it because his DNA was under the fingernail of our victim. We know it because we know that he has at least once in his life, fairly recently, possessed a firearm that shoots 9mm rounds. We know it because the defendant had a generic key card. It was in the bottom of his junk drawer in his kitchen. The defendant hated Mr. Tucker. Whether he was willing to say it on the stand or not, he hated him. The problem with the robbery theory, Mr. Tucker still had $350 in cash in a money clip. Not only would this be a robbery, but it would be a very specific robbery for a very specific thing. The defense will be asking you to believe Mr. Mercer because he is the key to the defense's case. But you shouldn't. The defendant was angry. He was infuriated. He was upset. The burden on the state is to prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt, based on the facts, based on reason, based on the evidence. I'm asking you, ladies and gentlemen, to find the defendant guilty.
Oh.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, counsel.
So Michelle's about to do her closing argument. She's
go
going to
either
have
way,
to really
bro.
hone in on the key pieces of evidence that favor the defense. If she hits home just those key things, I think she'll be in good shape to cast reasonable doubt, which is all she needs to do to win the case.
We're going to have to weave in a couple of
new
key
things.
pieces of new information.
Okay.
And it's gotta be like, it's gotta be so cut and dry, bro.
Legal eagle. Legal eaglet.
And the legal eaglet.
Ms. Khare, are you ready to present your closing argument?
Yes, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, in the game of baseball, it's 3 strikes and you're out. I urge you to recall 3 items missing from the prosecution's story.
Okay.
3 things cast reasonable doubt on the prosecution's case. First, Terry Gertch's investigation of this matter was factually incomplete.
Uh-oh.
He failed to do fingerprint analysis. He failed to do gunpowder analysis. And most of all, he failed this court system by focusing in on only Mr. Thornhill. This is strike 1.
Okay.
Second, Dr. Wilson's testimony confirmed that there were multiple parties who disliked Mr. Tucker, the victim. This is strike 2. Third, the eyewitness testimony from Mr. Thornhill's longtime friend, Drew Mercer, showed at the exact time of the murder, he was at home, winding down from
Not
a
the
long
best
day
strike,
at
but
work,
that's why I'm trying to
watching
see
the
how
Mets
she
beat
comes
the
with this next
Dodgers in
one.
the second
Like, is it
game
gonna
of the
get
league.
harder and harder type
The
shit?
prosecution has to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. And I hope you see just like I do, there's plenty to doubt here. I urge you to do the right thing and let this innocent man walk home. Not guilty.
All right, thank you, Ms. Khare. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, at this time, I will go through the closing instructions to prepare you for your deliberations in this matter. When you go to the jury room, the first thing you should do is choose a foreperson.
Well, everyone, thank you so
Choose a
much
foreperson.
for
So basically,
being
like,
attentive all
the
day.
leader of
I
the
think
jury.
The prosecution's case suffers.
I don't know about
because
attentive.
The investigation itself was kind of botched.
I'm really struggling with the lack of evidence to convict the suspect.
Did the state do its job beyond a reasonable doubt? And no.
I feel that they zone in on the defendant from the get-go because he dislikes Mr. Tucker. I dislike a lot of people. I'm not going to kill them.
But what he said, if it was a robbery, a third person, you know, there was still money in Mr. Tucker's wallet.
I'm struggling with the roommate. I'm not sure, like, is he telling the truth? Like,
The friend said when he came into the house, it was a normal day. They watched the game. And then when they really started to question him, he went back on what he said. And he started to say, like, oh, yeah, he was upset. He did tell me that he had a bad day. He seemed clammy.
Yeah.
Like, what are the chances that somebody comes and rob him the same day that he's having an argument? Right.
Our job is not to find who is the culprit.
And we can
but
only
in here,
assume so
it's
many
like-
motives and everything. That's the tough thing. All the assumptions. You don't have to
So
point
we're
it
all
out.
saying the state is wrong.
The case is not on.
I feel like they were pretty aligned.
All right. Back on the record on the matter of State versus Thornhill, all the attorneys are present, the defendant is present, and all the jurors are present. Juror number 1, I've been informed by the court bailiff that you are the foreperson. Has the jury reached a verdict?
Yes, we have.
Can you please give the form over to the court bailiff?
Uh-oh. Who y'all got, chat? I think they're gonna go in.
The jury in this
Michelle's.
entitled matter
I think she got this. The
finds
state
the
lost.
defendant
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Come on.
Of the crime of
Come on.
murder in violation of MPC 210.2.
Yeah, let's go.
Mr. Thornhill, you are free to go.
Your Honor, may we celebrate?
I am like, man, I really thought I was going to jail there. Thank you, guys.
I really thought I was going to jail there. It's crazy
By and
work.
large, she was amazing. She actually learned how to do all
She
of
did
this.
that shit, bro.
I'll be honest, the verdict does not surprise me. She did a really effective job, and what I'm seeing is a lot of adaptability. That is, frankly, pretty surprising to me for someone who's had 24 hours of experience in the law.
Michelle just
Honestly,
built different, though,
really
let's be
impressed with
honest.
the way that Michelle has improved. I'm particularly proud that I think Michelle understands what hearsay is, which is something that gives even law students and lawyers trouble.
Does this mean I'm a partner now?
We'll discuss that later.
Come on. Come on. Go ahead and get that bar done. Go ahead and knock it out. Tight shit.